Hi, as you can see, it's really cloudy out. Solar's not working that great. So I decided to take today and do a little experiment. Now, we are renting this one half of this building right here, this from our landlord. Now, what I have hooked up is what I call a solar cube. Yes, a solar cube. Now, unfortunately, this is a prototype. I want you to completely understand this. This is a prototype. Now, I do not have a good battery. I have this little bitty battery, and it is shot. Beyond shot, the thing is completely dead. So I have my jump pack hooked up to it. And unfortunately, that's not fully charged either. I have the 1100 watt inverter hooked up. I also have a charger controller hooked up, and I have my multimeter here. You'll see there's some light coming from here. Now, what I did was, this is, like I said, a prototype. I just used some aluminum foil. I have a light at the bottom, and I have a light up here at the top. You can see the screw coming through. And all these wires are just, spread everywhere. Because like I said, it's a prototype. I'm going to disconnect it and take it apart later. I have a plug here with both lights plugged in, out to an extension cord, and back to the inverter. Now you can see the wires. I hope you can see the wires right there for the solar. Now, just so you know, there are no plugs in here. There's no battery or anything in here. I have to apologize for the noise. We are renting this. Our landlord doesn't fix anything. A lot of the tin that's on the roof has come off in the wind. Now, I do have these with just zip ties. I have them zip tied together. They go through the back of one hole, through the back, out this way into the other hole, and then around and zip tied shut. I do have one of these charger controllers hooked up. Now, I don't know how to use this very well, so I can't tell you everything that it's supposed to be, the numbers. And of course, I have my 1100 watt power bright inverter. And what did I do with that? Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, I have my VOM. Right here is solar. There's battery, and there's load. Now, this battery is shot. When I say shot, I mean shot. It is completely dead. The only thing giving it any power to let this work, because your charger controller has to be hooked up to a battery, is my jump pack, and it needs to be charged. So let's go here. That's on the solar panels coming in. 12.63. Now I'm going to close this door. I'm going to give you a whole look at everything, the whole setup. Now, if you have a good battery hooked up, this will work so much better. And like I said, this is just a prototype. Just so you know. My inverter's still working. The solar's still working. Now, it is still reading and registering. That says 11.7. And that says 12.62. So right now, that is making 12.62 volts. Now, let's get the battery. I know the battery's shot. I only have 11.78 because it is coming out of that jump pack. It is not coming out of this battery. This battery is gone. And even on the load, it's 11.78. Okay, so what did I do? Why did I make this? Because in wintertime, a lot of times your solar's not going to work and your batteries can't be completely charged. Now with this running all night long off of your solar, what it's doing is it's producing enough power from the solar panels that it's sending power into the battery and through the battery and then out back into the solar. So basically it's a circle, okay? Now I also wanted to show you, it is dark in here. There is not a single light in here. You can see that, you can tell. Right here is a USB. Now I also have 2 USBs on that plug over there. Please do not use this type of plug if you're going to make something like this. See the USBs? So let me go back over here. As you can tell, it's not on. Nothing. That is charging that from that. Now I made this to be a complete circle. As long as the solar panels are producing enough power to run the lights with the inverter. Now these lights are these cheap LED lights. I will show them to you once I get done talking about this. And like I say, if you have a good battery, you don't have to have a jump starter. But if your battery ever goes dead to where it's not charging, you can hook up another battery or a jump starter like this and get the power going through to make your lights work. Like I said, this is a prototype. Now what I would do is, if I was going to make this permanent, which I won't because this roof leaks so bad, I would get aluminum, polish it up really good, screw holes into my frame and through the aluminum and make a solid aluminum piece. And then I would put the light on the inside, like it's coming through here, you know, right there, with a nut and bolt. And I'd put the wire through the top next to the light and just, you know, edge it over, instead of something like this. Now, in an emergency situation, you can see I have every corner zip tied. Except for the one where the wires are coming out. And like I said, it's a prototype. Now let's say you want to do something like this, and you want to make it to where you can hook something like this up in your closet so people don't know you have solar. You can make something like this. Now I'm going to try to open this without, you know, losing too much. Now let's check and see how much power we lost. That's still charging. So if you make something like this and you have it in the house, remember I just have foil on the top and bottom. If you use aluminum, you can make this a more permanent structure. And if you go through with your wires on the top and bottom, you won't have gaps like that. So let's see with the door open. Now remember this, if you have an apartment or something like that and you do something like this, if the lights go out, you're producing power. And if it's still producing enough power like this, then you can leave it open and have some light. You wouldn't have to have extra lights. You could actually use the solar cube or the cube to have lights in like one of your rooms. Yes, it is not much. Each one of those lights is less than 25 watt. I will show them to you after I get done in here. That's still charging. Now it's 11.7 there. Once again, on the solar. $12.21. So I don't think we lost very much by having that open. Okay? I think we lost a little bit, but not much. So you could actually leave this in a corner of a room, have it run to your battery. Well, first of all, have it run to the charger controller, then your battery. Once again, please make sure your battery is good. This battery is gone. That's why I have to use my jump pack. Then you run it to your inverter. And out from your inverter, right back over there to plug in to your lights. Now, if you wired your lights directly to one wire and then had a plug on the end, you wouldn't have to have all this mess here, okay? You could actually probably just take it through the top of it or whatever. I call this the cube because I wanted to come up with a way to charge solar panel batteries or solar batteries at night when the sun is down. And this seems to be doing a really good job. And if I used anything out of this battery, it'd go quickly. I mean, there's nothing here. This battery is basically a junction for that. Because this battery was left out on the ground for months, and it had snow all over it, and it has been frozen a couple times. So the battery's not any good. Now let's just go through, and I don't know what all these numbers mean. But it is going through. So, does the solar cube work? It seems to be working. Once again, if I go take my voltometer, and I apologize, this is the only thing I have to register power with. It's still at 12.17. It could be the way I'm holding that in there. It's not easy to do this. It keeps jumping up and down. So it's still over 12 volts. And this is still charging. Alright, so how do I shut this down? First thing, I unplugged this. Well, you know what? Yeah, I unplugged this. Because as soon as I shut that down, and you can still see it's cycling. And I don't know what all these numbers are for. Then I turn off. And there you go, the lights are off. Now, let's run back over here. And let's take a measurement from, not the battery, but the solar, and see what it's rating on the solar. I have to apologize, it's really, my hands are just really super cold. This is what we're getting. Right there, that's it. And that's probably because there's a little bit of light coming in. Now let's turn this back on. The lights came on. Yeah, this is so hard. The wires are getting twisted. Yeah. they're backwards. 12.17. Okay, so that's 12.17 coming in. Let me turn that off. And that's just off of that. And now I call this the cube, or you can call it solar cube, or you can call it whatever you want to. But I wanted to do an experiment to charge batteries at night. And this is what I came up with. Now I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to shut this down, then we're going to run in the house because my hands are like freezing. I'm just going to turn that off. My hands are so cold. It's not funny. I am just freezing. Now let's see if that put any power in here, because this was on like 2 volts, something like that when I started. Oh, I can't move that. That goes to the MP3 player. And before I do that, I'm going to take any power out of the inverter. Apparently there's some power, but not enough in here to kick the inverter because the battery's bad. Wow, it actually put power in here. So it did try to charge this battery. Huh. Interesting. Even my battery charger in the house would not charge this battery. We're going to run back in. And I'm going to lock this up. I'll come back later. And I'll take this apart. Because I wanted you to see all the hassles. I mean, look at that. I gotta be careful. It's been snow and ice. You can see some snow left, and there's still a little ice here. Look at the nice mess I made. And I still have to clean all that mess up. And over here you can see my battery charger. I actually had that hooked up to the battery charger, and it wasn't taking. Now these are the light bulbs I'm using. I don't know if I already told you about them. These are the general purpose LEDs. I have the 75 watt 1150. Now this last 18 years my ass. Ooh, I gotta be careful. Okay, 13.5 watts. Okay, is what it says it takes per bulb. So basically it's taking 27 watts for both bulbs. Anything extra is going into your battery. See, 13.5, 120 volt. Yeah, I don't want to break these. Yeah, you don't use this on dimmers or anything like that. Now here is where they get you. 18 years of life, my butt. Based on a 3-hour average daily usage. Ready for indoor and outdoor. So these are okay to use on that. And oh, it's upside down. That's what I'm using right there. And you can see the mess I got in here to clean up. I mean, geez. And I did have my jump starter plugged in for a little bit before I took it out there. There's the inverter box. Now, there's something to note. I have already checked this on this inverter, 400 watt inverter down here from Walmart. This the cheap orange one, and it works the exact same way. That EverStart right there, it is much cheaper, but I honestly don't like this inverter. That's why I'm using my 1100 watt inverter. So it does work with that inverter too. Okay, I am fixing to go. If you want more details on the cube, I'll just call it the cube. Put down in the comments cube and ask your question, and I'll do my best to answer it. Now, before you go saying you're using a jump pack on this, remember that battery is shot. I did not have a good battery to put on there. And you saw the volts coming from the cube. Okay? And I don't have the equipment to test amps or watts. So please don't ask. If somebody has the equipment to that, to do all that, please feel free to build one and post it up to YouTube. But you saw the volts, 12 volt, 12.19, 12.17. So it's producing 12 volts even with the inverter on and the lights going. It was producing power and sending it back into that battery and trying to charge that battery up, even though the battery was bad. So, like I said, that's something I wanted to test. I did test it. That is a prototype. Feel free to, let's get midnight in there. Feel free to do whatever you want to with it. You can build one for yourself. You can make one with 2 solar panels. You could possibly make one with 1 solar panel. But remember, you're going to be using 13 watts of power for the bulb. And then you're going to have loss in the cable and in the inverter. That's why I'm using 400 watts. Now you could do this with 300 watts and still be okay. But since I have sets of 400 watts, that's what I used. And it's so much easier just building a square to me than like building a triangle or something out of those. Alright, but anyway, that's it. I'm fixing to go. If you have any more questions on the cube, then let me know in the comments. And I'll try to answer them the best I can. Because right now, I'm going to go. I have to upload this. And then I have a mess to clean up. But my hands are just ice cold. So I'm going to sit in the house a few minutes and relax. And I have a mess to clean up in here too. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. And everyone have a good day. Bye.